the actual word desire, the etymology of desire means written in the stars. So if it's in you and it's a real desire, then it's probably for you. But the lesson of spirituality is to give it up so that you get it back.
This is Find Joy with Joyan Season 2, where joy gets stronger, our community gets bigger, and together we become better versions of ourselves in a world full of limitless possibilities. I'm your host, Joyan Chan. And every Wednesday, we bring you inspiring stories that will light up your soul, powerful message that will make you go wow, and fun conversations that will crack you up. With me and my special guests and friends, and it's my personal mission to empower you to live and lead a life with joy. If you are new here, this podcast is for you if you are looking for more joy, courage, passion, and purpose in your life. We dive deep into mindset mastery, spirituality, love and relationship matters, and how to manifest more success and abundance in all aspects of your life, however that looks. This podcast has got your back every step of the way. Now, without further ado, get ready to laugh, learn, and live your life to the fullest. Joining us today is a passionate founder of Eka Circle, a conscious mentoring venture dedicated to nurturing a brighter future. She's deeply committed to elevating vibrational frequencies and fostering a new Earth system. With a profound belief that every individual is inherently spiritual, her mission is to awaken forgotten consciousness through non-judgmental discussions and mindful activations. A mystic at heart and an activator by spirit, she advocates for transformative change, guiding people to elevate their consciousness and rediscover their spiritual essence. She's here today to share insights on spiritual awakening, the importance of high-frequency living, encourage growth, healing, and the collective raising of our vibrational energy. So, guys, help me welcoming the frequency queen, Michelle Noerianto. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Joyan. It's such a privilege to be here. I'm so honored.
I'm so excited to connect with you, and I had fun in our little pre-chat and with you running around the studio. All right, just to find a perfect spot. So can you share, the first place that I will start with you is to talk about your story. I'm always curious to find out, because I always believe that there's a reason why we do what we do today, right? So can you share a moment in your own spiritual journey that led you to where you are today?
I think the original moment for me was as a child, being able to be a seer and see the future and then be terrified of that. And then life goes on, and I fast forward into my probably late 20s, and I had a major activation with a light bolt in my head. It was blue light. I was shown things that were happening to me and why they were happening to me. And I was fairly non-spiritual at that point. So I kind of had my soul backed into a corner, if that makes sense, to go, okay, if there's great darkness, there must be great light. And I was gifted the gift of clairaudience that particular day, and then everything's been different since then.
Why do you think it happened to you?
I think it's soul agreement, Joyan. I asked myself that over and over, and that is actually the best way to find a frequency. It is to ask your subconscious mind, why is this happening to me? And then you set that vibration, and then the answers come to you as a wave. I've asked myself that over and over. I'm 57 now, and I'm still discovering the layers to that. I think there's a literal switch within all of us to achieve soul agreement, and that's where spirit gets activated. It's wired within everyone. Whether or not it happens this timeline, though, is the question.
Right. So, okay. So you also talk about astral projection, and is that okay, explain to us what is that? And because I know a lot of people don't even know what we are talking about, astral projection.
Yeah, astral projection happened to me accidentally, and I can't do it on command yet. A lot of people can, but it's getting your body to the higher vibrational state where your spirit actually leaves the body, and you can witness and look down and entertain into other dimensional realms. You see this on the movies, right? That we're interdimensional beings and you can't access a different dimension without a specific frequency. It's all Hertz frequencies, which is emotional. But I was very high vibrational the first time this happened to me. I looked down and realized that all of my perceived problems were actually, it was all okay. It was all playing the game. It was all by design. Life was happening for me. And that new perspective was an incredible push into a higher state of consciousness.
Can you share maybe any, because people who are listening to this might be like, how is it even possible? Like that is out of the world, right? So can you share any scientific or your like theories that attempt to explain this astral projection that makes sense to people?
I think metaphysical science is catching up to what we perceive to be science, but the ancients had all of this knowledge. You watch in Chinese movies, they're battling in a different dimension. You know, you see martial arts, etc., and things that are shown to us in movies are shown obviously within a body, but if you think about that actually happening beyond the body, that's where it's really happening. We're all time travelers. And I'm not sure that any human actually has the answer on this side of Earth plane, because we make soul agreements to drop down in density. This is the matter state. It's matter that's vibrating at a lower state, which is linked into Saturn and the patterns of 7 of journeying, systematic patterns of learning. And until you're consciously aware of the sacred geometry and that the pattern, and crack out of the 7, then you climb to 8, 9, 10. That's how the frequencies elevate. And it's getting back to what your name is. It's getting back to joy, actually. Like heaven on earth is possible if you choose love, joy, peace. It's a mindset.
How do we choose, like, how do we consciously choose joy, love, and peace? I love that, by the way. Okay, so before we go there, okay, let's talk about what is heaven as a frequency. Like, how do you define it?
Heaven is, I've been taken to heaven astrally. It blew my mind. The body wouldn't be able to handle the vibration. It might combust. And then I start to think about, you know, we read about these things like some bodies do combust, right? What is that all about? Or people disappear, like, or they fall into a portal. I don't have those answers, but when I was taken, it was such bliss that I didn't want to come back. Nothing mattered in this dimension. Everything just seemed like a video game, and lots of consciousness teachers talk about that, and it made sense to me when I achieved that. And then I was really sad to come back, but I was guided by guides. We have so many soul guides, you know, and if you don't have access to your guides or your team yet, ask for that. They're ascended spirits. They're much higher consciousness beings that are there to protect you, look after you. Anyone that's experienced a near-death experience would have witnessed this, but I had it all happen within the body. I mean, I met my team of elders while I was sleeping, for example. And if I watch shows on consciousness on YouTube's amazing for this. Like, you see that most people meet the team of ascended elders if they've had a near-death experience, and then their life's weighed up. Like, have you ticked your soul agreements? Have you achieved what you asked to achieve in Earth dimension? And if you haven't, back you come. But of course you have free will. And I was guided back to say that I had to finish a soul agreement. And even in that sadness, I found exuberance and joy. And everything's been rather fun since then, if I can sort of eloquently say that. It's not that I don't have troubles. Yesterday, somebody made me angry, but I realized that anger is just an energy, and I'm going to use it as fuel instead of hold it and become it. It's not my identity. It's an energy moving through me. And so that's how you find heaven. You just choose peace. You weigh up the consequences of holding an energy, be it unforgiveness or a toxic emotion or something that's a dense frequency, and you just go, okay, I'm witnessing this, but I'm not going to become it. That's the difference.
Right. And I guess it takes a lot of conscious awareness to be able to say, you know, these are outside of me, it's not me, right? You talk about it like emotions. I'm not the emotion, right? Or I'm not my body. So okay, let's say, how do you, so what I'm hearing is that you had your near-death experience, am I right? Okay.
It wasn't death for me, it was just an out-of-body experience, but it can feel like that. But what I've, when things like this happen to you, you want to seek out somebody else that's experienced that and communicate it, dialogue it, break it down. The closest that I found to understanding this for me was some Maori mystic women in New Zealand, and they experience this all the time. So they were able to reveal deep secrets to me that made sense. And they were kind of surprised that from my cultural background that had happened to me. And, they have gifts like being able to read the DNA, for example, but they couldn't read mine. And when I went and processed that by myself with spirit, I thought, yeah, because I've been activated. I hear these things like activate, activate, activated. It does sound like you're playing a supernatural game, a video game.
Okay. So how do we activate? Let's say if we want to activate our, I don't even know what is the term for this, right? How do we become spiritually awakened or activate our own, I know, like spiritual essence, So
Yeah.
how do we do that? Like what are some of the steps?
Lots of ways, actually. One of the best ways is to actually choose health and well-being. And I know that you speak into that a lot. You are what you eat, you are what you watch. Like up until this major activation of leaving my body to go to a heavenly state, which feels like it's within the body, actually. It's very difficult to explain. I was told to do a lot of fasting. Food fasting helps the cell vibrate faster. I was told at another stage to do a sleep fast for 9 months, which I wasn't told the number at the time. It was just do this and then this will happen, and it did.
What is a fast?
It's just not sleeping, but taking mini naps. That's what I was guided. So I'm clairaudient.
9 months?
9 months. It seems insane, but actually, if you're running in spirit, well, if you are running in spirit, you don't need to eat, you don't need to sleep, you don't need fuel other than love. So it's a really difficult concept in 3-dimensional density. And certainly I couldn't do that now. But when you're activated and pushed to do it for a season, it's easy. But it's motivation, it's heart space. Like my motivation to not eat was not to lose weight. It was a love state. It was to enhance my spirituality. It was to achieve bliss, a higher state of consciousness. And consciousness exists as your pure essence. That's what you're made from. Everything's made from the spoken word. And we get back to the word universe, meaning one song. If you're in tune with that, your radio receivers, which does link directly to your hair, tunes in, or it doesn't. It's whatever your measuring stick is. What's important to you? If peace is important to me as a value, then anything that's not peaceful, I will boundary up. I will choose joy. I will choose things that bring me peace instead of being tethered with attachments to things that drag me back down to density or pain, suffering. The Buddhists used to teach this, many, and the Essenes, I met many ascended masters. When you look at it from a much higher perspective, you realize that every single generation has had the truth. It's just a little bit hidden. You've got to find it with the mystics. The Sufis speak about the same thing, centering.
Okay. So you also had your, not just spiritual awakening, but physical awakening. Right.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. What happened?
Very high vibrational. If I would lie down even to take a little, I'm not a naps person. My husband's Indonesian. They love a nap. But I will always like, how can you nap in the day? I'm a bit of a workhorse, and you'd be like, you just tell yourself you're going to nap. So with this guiding, I was hearing the guides say to me, like 30-minute nap is an activator. It's a different brainwave state, actually. So if I can explain heaven and hell as brainwave states, it's getting really heavy rain here now too. But blessings on. I hope that you can still hear me clearly.
Yep. I could.
The activation happens within the cell, the water state. So water vibrates, right? Water holds light, water holds spirit. And with a voice command from ascended masters, you can be vibrating off the charts. You'll feel it. Like a Kundalini awakening is an incredible earthquake within.
Okay. Yeah, I personally have not experienced that, so I don't know
Yeah.
how it feels like, what it would be like. And so, and I'm always like curious, right? And I am intrigued when I hear stories about like this, and I always ask myself, why not me? Right. So do you
Yeah.
believe that
I
everyone?
do think it's a soul agreement switch, and you just keep asking, keep asking, keep looking after the body as a temple. Setting your intentions is very powerful. Listen to Hertz frequency music, which is 432 Hertz. It's healing music. 440 Hertz seems to disrupt the field. And spend more time in nature. I think when we're on tech all the time, we're magnetic beings. We're actually batteries. And when we're spending a lot of time on computers and phones, it's disrupting the energy field. So it's all of those things that disconnect us with modern life. Get back to the ancient ways. And I'm not on my phone every day. Please don't misunderstand that. Like, I just take breaks. I use fasting as a technique to activate the cell state.
Right.
Even things like listening to nature on your phone at night, like, it can be really soft, like playing things like lightning and rain, that heals the subconscious mind. The program exists within the subconscious mind, which connects to the body. It's right brain that we need to activate to hemisync and fly.
So, okay, you also talk about you are the frequency queen, and you also talk a lot about high frequency living. So okay, other than that, listening to nature, spend time in nature, or, stay away from laptops or computer, what else can we do? Okay, like in our daily life, for people who are listening, we are just a regular guy and girl, right? We are not you. So what can we do to elevate our consciousness?
One of the quickest ways to elevate your consciousness is to hum, believe it or not. The true activation of voice. Most of us that have suffered trauma or been silenced, or even our own inner critic silences ourselves, we don't think that our voice is important enough. Like, I've struggled with this my whole life. And if you've gone through anything like domestic violence or anything, the perpetrator always goes for the throat, right? There's a reason for that, because this energy point is where we co-create from. In Hebrew, abracadabra means I create as I speak. And so just humming opens up the energy channels, which will then activate the kundalini. The energy is coiled up in your root, actually. And if we don't feel safe in our bodies, or we haven't worked through trauma state, or we haven't integrated shadow, we haven't done this deep inner work, that energy is blocked. So each energy point for most people is blocked at some certain stage, right? So humming opens all of that up. It's remarkable. It's easy.
Okay. So you just hum, like, or is it part of a meditation?
It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Just simple, the famous Om is that, but there are many. Using AEIOU and just freestyling is really efficient. Like, so just, this is in sound healing, you would call that tuning, like freestyling, just using your without language, just sound to express yourself, which amplifies your energy field. Very, very powerful to unblock certain chakra points.
Yeah, because your expertise is actually sound healing. You are the sound healer. So there are so many types of healing out there, somatic healing, I don't know, like EFT, like tapping,
Yeah,
emotional healing, release, all these types of healing. So why sound healing, and how is it different from other types of healing out there?
If I can explain, I've been doing energy work for 30 years, and I do EFT, I do Reiki, I do meditation, I do all these things. But during the COVID lockdown, I was in South America, in Chile, and I had a dream. And I'm not really a big dreamer, but there was a team of elevated beings saying to me, go and get these singing bowls. And I was communicating with them so I could hear my spirit speaking to them. And I was saying, that's a bit weird. Why would I do that? Like, that's like, I'm not going to do that. And they said, oh, well, you don't have to, but it will make it faster. On studying metaphysics, I realize now that we do co-create. Sound makes things stick in water. Now, we are 70 to 90% water. Most of us are very dehydrated. And if you look at the old temples that had hydrogen water under them, we're missing hydrogen, which is which is was in that active living water. And hydrogen is actually what stars and planets are made of. The sun is full blast hydrogen, right? So as a light being, we need hydrogen. So when you combine sound with light, you get a major activation out of the density of the body. The body is matter state, which is actually low, slow vibration. Blood is actually fallen light. Blood is slow light, so it's vibrating at a lower state. But when we get to expanding light back to consciousness, it's vibrating like fire. It's a different color. It's a blue-purple color. It's it's your firewall. Think about yourself as a quantum computer. That's your firewall, which is jolly amazing. Nothing can touch you in that high vibrational state. You know, you remember that song, Can't Touch This. You can't touch this. Like, you know, I've vibrated out of the bullshit. Like, I'm off, I'm flying, I'm back to original state. It's actually back to angelic state, I feel.
Okay. And you do this in your own circle, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, talk to us about your circle. What exactly do you do when people join your circle? What they can expect from you?
Well, in my circle now, I've had many circles over the years, but this particular one, my intention was to become family, community, and teach about manifestation from a spiritual perspective. There are a lot of teachers speaking about manifestation purely on the physical. And whilst that's okay, we're here to have a physical experience. We're here to experience what it feels like to have things. The law of detachment is incredibly important in order to be free. If I'm so attached to something in the material realm, and that's everything to me, that may weigh me down. It may not be, you know, we are really interesting beings. We think we need something, and when we get it, it's actually the worst thing for us, you know. So this is the trust from soul state that I try to teach to our little group here every Tuesday night. And I also have a membership online that we talk into things, even like manifesting money, because we all need money in this dimension. How touching, visualizing, feeling, becoming, embodying allows you to attract more of that, but detach from it. That would be the secret that I would say most teachers are teaching. They're not teaching you to detach, because when we detach, we attract better. We're trusting the process of the ascended ones to give us what we're actually worthy of. I can think that, you know, when you're young, I can think that guy's great for me. Oh, he's my Mr. Perfect. And you fast forward 20 years and you're like, well, what was I thinking? I outgrew him with my wings on. Like, no way. You know, like we have to leave space for evolution and growth. And the soul knows the way. So finding your way back to pure love, which is actually not needing anything, that's your freedom.
That's really difficult, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Because like you say, we are still very much living in a 3D world, right? Everything is money. We need money to survive. We need food. We need this. We need that. And although I would say, yeah, we understand that we need to detach in order to have something to attract into our life. But again, when I think about that, right? The reason why I want to detach, you know, I still have the intention of, because I want this into my life, which is why I need to detach. So there's still this, you know, like I need to, because, right, in order to, so there's still this attachment somehow. So how do we really like detach? Because if I don't need it, right, then why would I want it in my life, you know? Because if I can completely let it go, then I don't need it at all, right? So yeah, if you understand.
100%, I can speak into that. So the actual word desire, the etymology of desire means written in the stars. So if it's in you and it's a real desire, then it's probably for you. But the lesson of spirituality is to give it up so that you get it back. And this is, picture the ocean, like whatever I give out comes back like a tidal wave. And this is teaching us to trust the divine. Fear is held in the roots, right? In the hips of a body, of a temple body. So fear, if we talk about heaven and hell, the reason hell is called hell is because we call the foot space the heel. Yeah, we're right at the bottom. We're right down near the ground. So that's low vibe. The heel is low vibe. And then we talk about the head has the same frequency as heaven. So, but the problem is in our traumas, in our walk, in our desperation, when you're too desperate for something, you actually repel it. I'd like everyone to think about dating. Yeah. Imagine when you go on a date with someone and they're just so needy. They don't even need to open their mouth. You can feel it. You're like, ooh, you know, like this is too intimate. Go away. And this is the whole repellency of being too desperate. No trust, no love. It's like a different energy. And once people intuit the difference between energies, they understand what I'm talking about, in that to trust the process, in that everything's happening for me, not to me, is to release, surrender, and trust that love's going to give me back better. The problem is we don't know what love is. We've forgotten in our amnesia state what love is. I can think love is a beautiful guy or my mum and dad or whatever, but most of us come from a little bit of dysfunction, if we're honest. So love's gotten messy. Or we think love is sex or things like that, and it isn't. You know, love is commitment. Love is trusting. Love is actually a covenant. It's a frequency. It's a vibration that doesn't require anything back. Right. And we can't wrap our little 3D heads around that. This is 5-dimensional states of thinking, which is back to spirit state. You know, I can walk through a wall, I can walk through water. I'm not trapped by the body. I am expansive. I don't need anything. I am one with the elements. That rain that you can hear here in Sydney today, I'm one with that. I'm not separate.
Okay, so do you still feel anxious, overwhelmed, anger at all? Like, do you? Okay, okay. So when you are in that state, how do you then shift yourself out of that state and, you know, raise your own vibration frequency?
I use things like the tapping or kinetic energy clapping, or I listen to my frequencies, or I do breath work. I use the things that I've learned to shift energy, but in the old me would have just shoved it down. Yeah, especially in the Western, you know, the Western ways, shove it down. It's embarrassing. Stop it. Don't express your emotions. You know, I come from this very British background where we were taught to be like that. That's the worst thing you could do. I express it. I own it. Yesterday, I was angry. Something happened to me that was very unfair. I was like, I'm going to harness this energy. Anger is an energy that needs to move through me. I'm not going to lash it out on anyone, but I'm going to express it. So I went outside and gave a yell, and I was like, everything's happening for me, not to me. It is a mindset shift. And as soon as you witness the energy, it will dissipate. The problem is we're not witnessing anything. That is what I would express as the courts of heaven. When I'm working with a client will get sick if they're repressing emotions. And by design, that's what happens to the body. We're all bundle balls of energy. And if the energy is blocked, it will create a disease. It will create a vibration, or it will create a block that attracts an entity, because you have to match the energy of an entity, for example. But to witness somebody's pain makes them feel heard. They don't need talk therapy then as much. They just need somebody to witness how they're feeling. It's all emotional, believe it or not. Yeah. So like lean into it, like lean into the darkness of these dense emotions. We're here for that.
Right. Yeah. And so often than not, we are avoiding, right? We don't want to feel the emotions because it's painful, uncomfortable. So we avoid, we suppress, we have some, like we scroll on social media just to avoid the feeling, right? Distraction, addictions, right? This is why people, drink and smoke and do all that stuff. So and you talk about frequencies, emotional. How would you explain that?
I would explain it using an ancient Chinese philosophy, in that each organ being music, has the ability to hold a different frequency. So if I had an alcoholic come to me, I would know I need to work on an alcoholic's liver, that the base emotion for an alcoholic would be anger and rage. It's a no-brainer. If somebody comes in with lung condition, I know that they're harboring grief. It's ancient teachings, actually. And when you join the dots without divide of culture or religion, and I don't belittle anyone that's still caught in those things, but to see things from a higher perspective, I have witnessed that every culture has a piece of the jigsaw puzzle, and if we put it all together, we have the answers. So it's just aligning the body back to being witnessed for what's being stored, and teach them how to breathe it out. or yell it out or punch it out. Not punch it out in a friendly way, maybe on a boxing bag, you know?
Yes.
But move the energy. Don't let it be stuck. Like today's client, she wanted to dance, and even on the massage table, her body was, it's somatic healing, you know, the body is designed to move. But we've become in this modern lifestyle so sedentary.
Yeah.
And just stuck.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. So yeah. Well, thank you so much for all this information. Is there anything that you really want to talk about? Perhaps I didn't ask you, didn't let you?
No, I would just like to recap what you touched on, actually, and thank you for this. You mentioned feelings, and one of my catchphrases is feel it to heal it. So I thought that was actually a beautiful thing that you reminded me to say, because feelings are there to feel. The human experience, human being hue, light being, we are here to feel things that love can't feel. So, and that's what we're going to, that's what spirits without bodies are jealous of. So don't begrudge yourself the ability to feel into what you've walked through and become empowered by that. It's beautiful, actually. It makes us, you must taste darkness in order to find great light.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's so beautiful that I'm getting emotional.
Yeah.
Just hearing you said that. Yeah. Thank you so much. And this is not the end, because we always end with our final 5 rapid fire questions. So these are the 5 questions that I ask all my guests at the end of the show. And every question has to be answered in 1 word or 1 sentence maximum. All right?
Okay. Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, the first question is, what is one thing you wish you knew earlier?
Oh, that I'm a spirit, not a body.
Love that. Second question, if you could live your life all over again, what would you do differently?
I would forgive sooner.
I love that. Beautiful. Third question, what is something you're trying to learn or curious about right now?
I want to astral project on command.
Okay, let me know when you can do that.
I want to go home.
Yeah, wow, that's something I could never imagine myself doing. Maybe, who knows, maybe, you know, next time when we meet again, I will tell you,
Yeah.
I did it. If you have
Yeah.
5 minutes and the whole world is listening to you, what would you say?
I'm sorry, I missed that question.
If you have 5 minutes and the whole world is listening to you, what would you say?
Love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you can't possibly love another.
Beautiful. Last question is, what brings you the greatest joy?
Watching people thrive, it just makes my heart sing.
I love that. I love how quick you give me these answers. All right. Thank you so much again. Now
Thank you.
Tell my people where they can connect with you, join your circle. What is the best place to connect with you?
Oh, probably on my website. It's ekasanctuary.com, and all of my social media is connected there. I also have a membership if you're interested in joining these types of conversations. I live to speak these things. I cannot believe that I get paid to talk about these things. It's such a gift, and it lights my soul just watching people fly and realize that they're all sovereign. We're all equal. We're all magical. We're all amazing.
Yeah, and we are all one, right?
We are one. That's what Eka means, actually. Eka is a Sanskrit. It's an ancient Sanskrit word that was given to my husband in dream state. He's a seer. He sees into the spiritual realm. Being Indonesian, that's not uncommon. And he woke up one night and he says, I've got the name for you. It's Eka. I think it's Sanskrit. Look it up. And it ticked every box for what my soul was seeking for. I was like, that's the name for my new business. Boom.
That's crazy, right? It's crazy.
I know. Amazing. We're all one. We're all one. And he's pretty special.
Yeah. All right, that's beautiful. Thank you so much again. Now,
Thank you.
yeah, guys, I hope you love this episode. Take a screenshot of this if you're listening, share it on IG story, and let us know what is your biggest takeaway. Go follow Michelle, connect with her, visit her website, join her circle. I put all the links in the show note below. And also remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss another episode coming to you every Wednesday. And I will always leave you the same way as I leave you every other episode. Show up, the world needs you, and you need you. Thanks for listening, and I wish you all a joyful and amazing day ahead. Bye, Michelle.
Bye, honey.
Thank you again for tuning into Find Joyan podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a screenshot and share it on your IG story and tag _podcast so I know you are listening. And leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts if you haven't already done so. And remember to hit the subscribe button whether you are listening on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, or any of your other favorite platforms. If you love what we are doing and want to become one of our sponsors, you can send me a DM to connect. And thanks for being here. I will see you soon in the next episode.